Well, happy Saturday evening, good evening, and what a blessing it is for me to have this opportunity to address you one more time. This is Dr. Preston Ray Winfrey, and I'm just so happy to be able to share with you another Saturday. I'm 3.5 hours past the time that I would normally address you, but I did go on earlier to say that I would be on later. I had a number of things that I needed to do, I had to do today, but I would not let this day go by without taking the time to have my Saturday inspiration. I look forward to this time sharing with you and how appreciative I am to you for taking the time to listen. I'm thankful for those of you who share these inspirational times with people in your contacts, and thank you so much. And please be reminded and let your people know that on Facebook and on YouTube, that little bell symbol, you see a little bell icon on the right hand at the top of your screen. That's the notification. And if you click on that, you will be notified each time that we are on. Typically we're on Sunday mornings for our worship, Pioneer Church, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. That's our morning worship, and it's a great time. Also on Saturdays at 3 p.m., generally at 3 p.m., I want to be on, but there are times when I will not be able to be on at that time. And if I run into technical difficulties, and I have in the past, well, it's just a matter of getting on when I can get on. And I know that you can't, and you wouldn't prefer to sit at your computers waiting to find out exactly when I'm going to come on. That's where the notification can help you. Because if you click on the notification, then whenever I'm live on here, you will get that notification letting you know that Preston Winfrey is live, and you can either tune in then or you can catch me a little later on. So that's my spiel. I'm sticking with it, and I want you to know how happy once again I am to have this time to share with you. How are you? Yeah, I really want to know. How are you doing? I've had an interesting week. Thank you for asking. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling much better. I was blessed to go through a surgery on this past Monday. I had it on my foot, and so I'm advilling along, hopping along, being very careful how and where I walk. But thank the Lord that things are as well as they are. I'm now in a boot. I graduated. So I went in today and got that boot, and now I'm able to kind of walk around without a crutch. And but I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to not rush things. I'm not going to trick myself into thinking that I can just do and go as I once have. I need to slow it down some and allow the healing process to take place. And it does. It takes time, right? So I'm going to get there, and pray for me. I don't often ask that, but I always welcome it. Um, you need the practice. I need the prayers, and I'm praying for you because I need the practice, and you need the prayers. So we're all in this thing together. Okay, so sense of humor goes a long way, especially with me. Um, I can't lose that. If I lose that, then a part of who I am and what I am and how I am gets lost. And then people start to ask questions like, where is he at? I'm used to you saying something comical, saying something, doing something. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the joy of being yourself. Joy of being yourself. Be you. Be who you is and not who you is not. Right? How's that for good grammar? Yeah. Be who you are. Be who you are. Someone said imitation is the best form of flattery. And so many times you find people who are imitating others. They want to be like them. They want to do things that they do. They want to do it how they do it. And that can be flattering, to the person that you're imitating. But others will not always smile on it. Sometimes they frown on your trying to be like someone else. And they will quickly say, he's just trying to be, or she's just trying to be like so and so. And for the most part, while it's true that we will mimic a person, but we generally want our own identity, right? You want to be who you are. So, imitating others, we always learn something from others, and that's a good thing. That's not bad, but you don't want to be exclusively like someone else. At some point, you ought to show up who you are, what you enjoy, what you like, and even those times, some things what you don't like, you ought to be able to, um, you know, put it out there on Front Street and say, you know what, this is who I am, this is how I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and then you move on. Because otherwise, if not, you once again you can get lost in the shuffle. Many people are afraid, unfortunately, to look at and really be who they were meant to be. And I think for a number of reasons, there are just a number of reasons why many people are afraid to be who they are. Sometimes they're afraid. Fear is a big factor here. If I be myself, I will not be accepted. People will maybe walk away from me. They'll get away from me. Well, to thine own self is better to be true. And there are times when you just need to be true. Be true to yourself. You know, why eat a meal that you really don't enjoy? And especially a meal if you're out, let's say in a restaurant, and sometimes even at someone's home. And how do you handle that? Do you just say, well, I'm going to eat this before me and I'm not going to complain? And you know that indigestion is soon to show up because what you're eating may have that effect on you. So are you gracious enough to say, this is not working for me, let me try something else, or no, I've had enough. So sometimes we are uncomfortable being who we are. I know how I am, but I want to appease everyone else. And so I don't want people to be angry and upset with me. So I'll be who they want me to be. Well, it's only a matter of time before they say, hey, don't you have any courage? Why don't you stand up and just say, hey, that's not me. This is not who I am. This is not what I want to do. Another reason people sometimes are afraid to be who they are because they are unsure. I'm not, person's just not sure of who they are. I don't know what my worth is, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm nobody, and nobody likes me, and everybody hates me, and I can't get anything right, and I'm just all thumbs, and they put themselves down tremendously, and paint themselves as a loser. Well, who who wants to hang out with a loser? Winners? No one wants to be around a loser because it won't be long before they will fear that your losing spirit may rub off on me. And I, by no means, want to be identified as a loser. I don't want people to look at me as a loser. So it has been said, if you're going to um, um, fly like an eagle, you have to quit hanging around turkeys. Well, turkeys are not going to fly like eagles, obviously. So if you want to be winners, then you need to be around winners. You need to be around people who are confident, people who know what they want for the most part and will um, unashamedly go after it. Another reason, sometimes people fear rejection. Well, if I'm who I really am, people will not want to be around me. People will hate me. People will reject me. People will put thumbs down. People will talk about me. Well, that's the price that you pay when you know what you want, when you're sure of yourself. That is intimidating to many people because people don't always want you. They're not always comfortable with you making declarations about yourself, who you are. It's like, no, don't have a mind for yourself. Don't think for yourself. Think how we want you to think. Be how we want you to be. And that's no fun, because what happens when you know you should be going in a different direction and you want to go in that other direction, but you fear that others will reject you if you stand up? Then sometimes another reason why people are afraid to be who they are, um, because they don't have courage of their convictions. So they ultimately conform to the thinking of others. Or what you think I should do? Well, no, not what they think. What do you think you should do? And most times we already know what we should do. We just many times lack the courage to do it. And so it's just a mad span that we have. And so don't be afraid to be who you are. Well, how do you do that? That means you have to take some risks. Dare to know who you are. Find out who you are. Sit down somewhere. Study yourself. Take your own pulse and say, wait a minute, this is what my pulse is. This is what my heart rate is. What gives you pleasure? What gives you joy? What angers you? What perturbs you? Right? So you have to understand, if you're going to be in balance, you have to have the highs and the lows, the pros and the cons about who you are, what it takes for you to be who you are. Don't you get tired of laughing at things that's not funny simply because others are laughing and they suggest that you should laugh? Well, what happens when what is said isn't appealing, isn't funny to you? Do you have the courage to just keep a poker face or just simply say, I don't find that funny and I choose not to laugh? Well, it takes courage to be that way. But get to know who you are. I'm thinking about a Bible character, Joseph. You remember Joseph? He was known as the little dreamer there in the book of Genesis. And Joseph was, he was having these dreams. The Lord was giving him dreams. And he was a young guy. And he's just going telling his brother, man, guess what? I had this dream that one day you all going to be bowing down before me. Well, these older brothers didn't care for that. And they were hearing this a little too much from this fella named Joseph. And they said, one day we're going to have to do something about this boy. Well, his daddy brought him a jacket. Daddy was so proud to have this young boy. And he brought him this coat, this jacket, had all these different colors. That's when it was cool, to have all these colors. And They didn't like it. They said, this, Dad is showing favoritism. He prefers him over us. We don't know why. We're older. We have so much more to offer, and here he is. All he has is these dreams, and we're sick of him and his dreams. And so they sought to get rid of him, and they did. They were going to kill him, and I thank God for Reuben. He had a brother who was like, no, maybe we ought not kill him. Why don't we just kill a wild animal and take smear it on his jacket and take it back to the old man and said, something happened to him. Just leave him out here. Let's dump him in this hole and leave him. And he was thinking, if they buy this, I'll come back and I'll spare my little brother. I'll deliver him from this pit that we have him in. Well, while they were gone, you know what happened? They ended up selling the brother into slavery. And it went from one thing to the next. Next, it was just all over the place. It was a terrible scene, but the Lord was with Joseph all the time. And no matter where he went, no matter what kind of bondage he found himself in, the Lord made a way for him out of no way. And that's just like the God we serve. Joseph had time now, and he's in prison. He's going through all these changes. He's feeling forsaken. He's wondering too, no doubt, what about these dreams? I know the Lord gave me these dreams, and when are these dreams going to come into fruition? Well, God moves in mysterious ways. And in his own time, the Lord fixed it for him and brought him through. And so now Joseph is finally delivered from prison after going through so many changes. I'm telling you, go back and read it. Genesis chapter, 39 through 45, 46. You will discover a great, great lesson. But now Joseph is governor. And he's up there. He's high ranking. And his brothers had to come into Canaan to get something to eat because they were in the midst of a terrible famine, and this is just a principle in life. You never know who you're going to need in your future. Right now you may say, hey, I'm doing good. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I got it going on. I'm in charge and I'm large. But you don't know what tomorrow holds. Tomorrow you may be small and not in charge. You may be small and out of control. You may be sickly. You may be down to your last dime, and you don't know who you're going to need. We have to be careful even how we treat people, how we treat family, because you never know who you're going to need, and something with young people, they're notorious because they think I'm young and I got it going on and I have all these friends and I've got people and I can do this, that, or the other, but you will never outsmart wisdom. Wisdom has a way of doing things. Speaking of wisdom, I think of this husband and wife who were married and perhaps at one time in love, but later on they just fell apart and they had a messy divorce. And so the wife said, "Well, I want the home." The husband said, "No, you're gonna get the car. You're not gonna get this home. I'm gonna keep the home." And so it happened. She got the car. He got the home. But he discovered as he redecorated, house had this fishy odor to it. And so he cleaned the walls down. He cleaned the carpet. He shampooed. He fixed the place up. And still, he had that fishy odor, and he couldn't quite figure it out. He changed the drapes, purchased new drapes and blinds, and he still had that fishy smell. So he decided, well, one way I can really repay that old wife of mine, I'm going to just give her this home and let her have this old fishy place. Well, he did. And she gladly moved in, signed all the papers. It was now her home. She invited him over for dinner, and he went over to dinner hoping that he would smell that fishy odor. And he said, it smells fresh in here. She said, yes, I want to thank you for the new drapes, the new blinds, the new carpet. Thank you for decorating the walls. Thank you for doing this, that, and the other. He said, but there was a fish odor in here, and I couldn't find it. I did everything. And she said, oh, well, I had put some shrimp shells um, behind the Travis rod. And so no matter what you did, you would always smell that fish or shrimp until you got rid of those. And so she said, well, I just want to thank you for a brand new home. All these things I've been trying to get you to do for years. And so you did it on your own, and it's my home. So thank you. Listen, you don't know who you're going to need. And you will never outsmart a person who is wiser than you. So don't ever think because you're young and a few people know your name and know where you live and you have a few contacts that that's it. Stick with wisdom. Learn who you are. Be who you are. Find out what your DNA is and know who you are. Any person who cuts themselves off from their own roots, then actually you destroy your own roots, which means you will have a premature death. I just said something there. So get to know who you are. Get to know who you are. Be comfortable with who you are. Listen to what Joseph said to his brothers when he finally, after he had sent them on many trips and tricked them and had them feeling guilty, and they knew that something was going on. One day, this governor breaks down and he starts to cry. And so he put his people out. He put his armor bearers out, if you will. And it was just he and his brothers. And they were looking, trying to figure out, oh Lord, what is wrong with this governor? Who is he? And why is he weeping? So he finally says to them, I am Joseph. This is what he told his brothers. I'm Joseph. And when they heard him say, I am Joseph, oh my goodness, they could have been sold for a mint julep. They were too outdone because all of those dreams now that Joseph had shared with them about how one day they would be bowing down before him, they would honor him, he would be large and in charge. They never thought that that would happen. But guess what? It did happen. But I love Joseph's response. They said, oh Lord, we know that you're going to get us for all the dirt that we've done to you, all of the evil that we've committed on you. And we just know. And he said, listen, am I in the place of God? He says, no, I'm not God. God didn't send me here to be your God, but he sent me here to make a way for you, make provisions for you. And so he had them, listen, sent for the family, bring them on. I will make certain that everything is well with them. Isn't that great? And listen, Joseph knew who he was. Now, it took him some time before he came into really knowing and appreciating his journey. You know, so often we don't appreciate the journey. We don't understand why these trials. Why am I going through this? Why am I being bad-mouthed? Why do people despise me? I'm trying to do what is right. How come? And we have all these questions, not only in the back of our mind, but they're coming out of our mouths, right? Well, why are they treating me this way? And you know, I've been a blessing to them, and they're just doing this to me. They're biting my hand, and I'm constantly feeding them. People that you've given money to, you lent money to, and they turn around and despise you. They're angry with you. People that you have counseled and you listen to, and they're upset with you because seemingly you don't have any problems, and they're the ones with the problems. And they're upset that they have to come to you for help, but they can't find help anywhere else. That's just a craziness in some people. But listen, get to know who you are and be all right with who you are. Love who you are. Be the best who you are, because you are who you are. And what you have, the Lord has given to you. So don't despise it. Don't despise the day of small things. Don't despise when you are doing good and people speak evil of the good that you have done. Be who you are. Appreciate who you are. People will be upset with you because you find out who you are. Use the tools that God has given you. Has He given you wisdom? Has He given you favor? Has He given you special abilities? Has He given you special talents? Use those for His glory. Use them to help who you can, when you can, and wherever you can. And don't waste any more time being upset with people who do not understand you, who don't understand your mission, who don't understand your ministry, who don't know your story. They're trying to rob you of your glory. They want to wet your party, rain on your party. But listen, learn when to move on. There are times when you just have to move on, and sometimes you're moving by yourself, right? You know, you can't always have a crowd when you are trying to gain upward mobility. But you have to know who you are, be comfortable with who you are, and let people talk. Let them despise you, but you keep your head up. I hear the psalmist saying, I lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence comes my help? He asked a question. He says, you know what, silly me, my help comes from the Lord. So lift up your head today. Understand the joy of being yourself. Be who you are. Learn who you are. Who were you meant to be? Then be that person. And you know the Lord will bless you. He will strengthen you. He will guide you. And He will keep you. So don't just be a blessing to everyone else. Take time and be a blessing to yourself. And you'll be amazed. You'll sleep better. You'll think better. You'll live better. And this is Dr. Winfrey saying, I love you. Be of good courage. Hang in there. You can make it if you can take it. The joy of being yourself. Listen, we're going to be in worship on tomorrow at the Pioneer Church, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We are located at 315 East 161st Place. That is in South Holland, Illinois. We'll be streaming on Facebook and on YouTube up under Pioneer MB Church of South Holland. And then one final thing, don't forget, click on that bell that's right there on the right hand at the top of your screen. That's the notification bell. That will let you know each time we are on. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you. I appreciate you. I bless you. And listen, God so loved you, He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but shall have everlasting life. Until next time we meet, Dr. Winfrey saying, I love you and good night.